listening to KX93.5, Laguna's only FM. I'm Scott Hayes. I'm here with my co-host, Robert Palmer.
That was some tasty music there.
Very tasty music, by the way. That's a song written by Shawn Jones called Love's Gonna Find a Way. And Shawn was very kind enough to contribute that song to the Shelter Me benefit CD we did for Friendship Shelter a few years ago. So, Shawn, by the way, I appreciate you doing that for us.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Very kind.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great song. Hey, you know, I call you one of the hardest working musicians in Southern California. I went online 200 gigs a year, 4 studio albums, 1 live album. And don't you tour with the country music artist Deana
Yes, Deana
Carter?
Deana
well?
Carter. She wouldn't want to hear you say Deanna.
Well, how do I pronounce it?
Deana.
Deana, okay,
Yeah,
Deana
yeah.
Carter. Yeah, my
Deana
mistake.
Carter. Yeah, strawberry wine, baby.
Strawberry wine, yeah. And so you just, you're a constant, hard-working musician. It's a full-time gig. You've been doing it your whole life, no?
Yeah, we actually just got back from Newfoundland. We were there last weekend, touring over there. I learned how to say Newfoundland. You don't say Newfoundland, you say Newfoundland. But anyway, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, 26 years full-time, and then playing for number of years.
Yeah.
How many was that again, Shawn?
Yeah, well, it starts with a 4.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it right there.
Well, you look pretty good for being 144 years old.
It's that reverse aging stuff that I take.
Hey, we were just talking about Hendrix and his Stratocaster. I was just listening to that tune you played. That sounds like a Strat. What kind of guitar do you play?
I play a lot of, I have 35 guitars.
Was that a Strat, though, we just heard?
Yeah, that was a Strat. Yeah, that was my main axe that I play.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Is that the one that Waylon and Willie and everybody signed for?
No, that's a Telecaster that I actually, when Waylon started managing me, I went around the last Highwayman tour, and I unbolted the neck off my Tele, and Waylon took me around, and he signed it first, and then he took me around.
Yeah, I heard that story. You banged on the door of the bus and said, "Would you mind signing this?" He goes, "I got an idea for you."
Yeah, that's exactly
How cool is
what
that?
happened. That's exactly.
So who else signed that thing? There were a lot of signatures on that.
Yeah, Johnny
guitar.
Cash, Chris Christopherson, Willie, Waylon, and Jesse Coulter signed that guitar.
Don't ever lose that guitar.
Well, it never leaves the house unless I'm shooting a video with it or something. You know. So this is my American-made reissue Fender Tele. I call it my Highwayman Tele. I was working with Waylon Jennings, following them around in my truck, and they were in the bus, obviously. One day, I got an idea. You know what? I got to get all the signatures of these guys. And I went up to Waylon, knocked on his bus door, and said, "Waylon, and I'd really like to get you to sign my guitar." And he says, "Well, absolutely." So he signs the back of it, and he goes, "Come on, Haas, I got an idea." So this is Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, Jesse Coulter, Willie Nelson, and Johnny Cash.
Hey, Shawn, let me back up a little bit here. I'm curious. You're a guitarist, if you want to call it that. It seems to me you're really focused on being exceptional at the guitar. My question for you is, what made you initially pick up a guitar?
My father played and sang old country songs, and 4 years old, he's sitting on the couch playing a guitar, and Mom played the piano, and they just sat around and played music, and I gravitated to it just immediately, And one night I remember I woke up in the middle of the night. I went out into the living room, and there was a white Stratocaster sitting there. I don't know whatever happened to that guitar. It'd probably be worth $15,000 now, because that was in the late '60s, early '70s. So, but I always knew I wanted to play.
Yeah.
It just.
Did you initially pick it up left-handed?
My dad on the Christmas of 1973 took his guitar and strung it up left-handed and gave it to me for Christmas, and bought himself a new Martin, which I now own. He passed away 10 years ago, and it took me a while to restring that one lefty, but So
you learned to play guitar on a Fender and a Martin.
Well, no,
Poor Hendrix had a ukulele with one string he found.
The Fender I never saw again after that night.
That was it?
But I started on acoustic, and I started left-handed.
Wow.
So,
Wow. And you said somewhere on your bio that you felt as though the guitar saved your life as a kid.
Well, it did, because I grew up in the bad part of San Bernardino, And I used
By
to...
the way, just where is the good part of San Bernardino?
well, that's funny.
There is an In-N-Out. I've been there.
Well, back when I was a kid, you know, the north part of San Bernardino had some. It still has very nice homes. It's a lovely place up in the north part by the hillsides. But down below where I lived, over by Norton Air Force Base, Baseline and Waterman, it was tough. It was a tough area, and I was kind of the minority. And walking to school, there was an area called the Waterman Gardens between my elementary school and where I lived that you didn't walk through there.
Wasn't much of a garden to you, I think.
No, there was no garden
More of a
about
swamp.
it. But anyway, it was funny because I got jumped a lot as a kid and threatened and stuff. And as soon as I started carrying my guitar, because I was obsessed with the guitar, period.
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning. And so I started carrying my guitar to school, and nobody jumped me after that. I would open up my case and play, and people would throw their milk money and their lunch money in my case.
That's amazing. Let me share some
And-
Hendrix trivia. He used to get beat up. He used to live in a bad part of town. He used to carry a broomstick around with him, pretending it was a guitar.
Yeah.
And he said the day he started carrying a guitar, he never got beat up again.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that's
fine.
what happened to me.
So the guitar has always been sort of, I'm going to use a cliche here, sort of been your best friend, yes?
Yeah, well,
It's always been with you. It sort of gave you
it's an appendage.
It's an appendage, yeah. And you play it like it's an appendage. I mean, it just
Well,
seems so natural to you.
thank
I
you.
thought, we were talking about Hendrix earlier, and I saw a video of you performing the song "The Wind Cries Mary."
Yeah, that was in Belfast. I did that in
Yeah.
a little town called Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
Holywood.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Yeah, Holy.
I thought just to give us a little taste, maybe a minute and a half of "The Wind Cries Mary," and then we're
oh.
going to roll into your career and listen to some of your original songs as well.
Okay, so
I know it's early, too.
Wind Cries Mary. Here we go on the acoustic.
The audacity to play that on the acoustic is amazing. I've seen this video.
They have all the jacks in their boxes, and all the clowns have all gone to bed. You can hear happiness staggering on downstream. Footprints dressed in red, and the wind whispers Mary. A broom is drearily sweeping up the broken pieces of yesterday's life. Somewhere a queen is weeping. Somewhere a king has no wife. Whoa, and the wind cries Mary. We don't have time for
Wow, man, beautiful.
That's the tastiest musical breakfast I've ever had. That was extraordinary.
Hi, I'm David Wilhelm, and this is Jimmy's Famous American Tavern. Jimmy's has been called a casual comeback for me. I think that's because most of the restaurants that I developed in the past were white tablecloth, upper-end restaurants. Jimmy's was designed as a place for friends and families to gather and enjoy regional American comfort food in a casual setting. Jimmy's Famous American Tavern. Simple and traditional.
You talked earlier about Waylon Jennings, and he managed you for a period of time there?
Yeah, about a year and a half. We were introduced by a guy named Steve Bender, who is like my second father, and he was the one that introduced me to Waylon, and then ended up managing me for a while. And then Waylon, when he introduced me to Waylon really liked my music, and took me kind of under his wing. And that's when I did that little Highwayman tour. I actually just followed them around. And they'd go on to the next town, and I'd get the hotel room. So I could get out of my truck, out of the back of my truck, and have a decent bed to sleep in. And then from there, you know, I went out to Nashville, and I did a show on TNN back before CMT, where they, you know, they were saying the new up-and-comer, blah, 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 managed by Waylon Jennings. So that happened. Then his health kind of took a turn. So we ended up, instead of him doing the management thing much longer, I ended up doing Lollapalooza with Metallica and Soundgarden, because he was asked to play main stage with Ramones, Metallica, Soundgarden, and Waylon. And so I did that tour with him.
Waylon's playing with Metallica.
Well, it was his own set. You
Wow.
know, but Metallica
Obviously.
it was
It's an
headlining.
interesting mix, yeah.
It was. I got to meet and hang out with those guys a bunch, and actually flew out to Jason Newsted's house and jam with him in his his
Wow.
studio, which was fun. And then we went on to do a record in '96 called "Right for the Time," and I played some guitar on that album as well.
We want to get to your original songs now.
Sure.
We want to hear you as a songwriter. You've got a new CD out, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Struggle Makes You Stronger.
Yes, that's what my shirt, SMYS.
SMYS.
Yeah.
You got a beautiful website, by the way. It's well
Thank you.
organized. You got
Thank
you got
you.
everything that needs to be on there. So
Thank you.
go ahead and give us the web address while I.
It's www.ShawnJonesMusic.com, and then I'm also on Facebook, Shawn Jones Music, and there's a fan page as well.
And it's Shawn, SHAWN, Jones
Thank you
Music.
for clarifying.
.com, yeah. So let's hear a cut off your new titled album, Struggle Makes You Stronger. I think we decided maybe Life is for the Living might be a good one to...
You want to hear me sing that?
If you can. I know it's early.
It is early,
Okay.
but yeah, there's a video out there on this now too.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay, so here we go. Well, I went out to see an old friend, laid to rest last Saturday. All his life he worked his fingers to the bone, and all that got him was an early grave. And because life is for the living, let's do some living, you and me. Well, let's make tonight a new tradition. Celebrate the way things ought to be. Give it to me now. When I think of all the time that's wasted worrying about things we cannot change, there's so much out there waiting to be tasted. Don't want to wake up and find out it's too late. And because life is for the living, let's do some living, you and me. Well, let's make tonight a new tradition. Celebrate the way things ought to be. Well, I've been around enough to know a good thing when I feel it, and I've got that feeling right now. These are the good times to remember. Forget about all your sorrow, but worry about that tomorrow. Because life is for the living. Let's start living, you and me. We're gonna make tonight a new tradition. Celebrate the way things ought to be. I said life is for the living. Let's start living, you and me. We're gonna make tonight a brand new tradition. Celebrate the way things ought to be. We're gonna celebrate the way things ought to be. Come on, celebrate the way things ought to be. Yeah. Life is for the living, y'all. Woo.
Beautiful.
A little cracking pop going on.
Hi, I'm David Wilhelm, and this is Jimmy's Famous American Tavern. Jimmy's has been called a casual comeback for me. I think that's because most of the restaurants that I developed in the past were white tablecloth, upper-end restaurants. Jimmy's was designed as a place for friends and families to gather and enjoy regional American comfort food in a casual setting. Jimmy's Famous American Tavern. Simple and traditional.
You up for another song off your CD titled "Struggle Makes You Stronger"? You want to do the title?
Yeah,
track
I
on
can do that. Sure,
Okay.
sure. I wrote this with Deana Carter's brother, who's one of my best buddies, and he and I, we got our SMYS shirts going now. We've trademarked the logo, and a lot of the money's from the proceeds of that is going to different functions and so forth now.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of a neat thing.
What's the inspiration behind the song we're going to hear?
Struggle Makes You Stronger is a song that I came up with the title. I brought it to Jeff, and we wrote it before both of our dads were gone. But it's just kind of a, it's the old "what it doesn't kill you makes you stronger" type thing. And it's just affirmation in life, and realizing that through the struggle, we can gain strength, from that. And so it's kind of a universal adage, topic, mantra, whatever. So that's what this is about.
Nice.
It's had about 3 different tempos, but this is the one we settled on.
All
So. Well, my daddy said whatever didn't kill me was bound to make me stronger. So I tried to find the easy way around what I didn't want to do. Sick and tired of listening to his preaching, I couldn't take it any longer. I couldn't see how he would understand what I was going through. When I got out on my own, I found out before too long, the struggle makes you stronger. Struggle makes you stronger. You can lose and you can win, but in the end, the struggle makes you stronger. Well, all right now. Well, now things have changed, nothing stays the same. They say the good old days are through. Cost of living's getting so outrageous, and my credit's overdue. So I try to lead a simple life, but I end up spending more than I made. Too much weight on my back, sometimes it feels like it's gonna break. It's gonna break. If my old man was here today, he'd look at me and he'd say, boy, the struggle makes you stronger. Well, the struggle makes you stronger. You can lose and you can win, but in the end, the struggle makes you stronger. Well, the struggle makes you stronger, yeah. I said the struggle makes you stronger. You can lose and you can win, but in the end, the struggle makes you stronger. Well, the struggle makes you stronger. I said the struggle makes you stronger. Well, the struggle makes you stronger, yeah. Struggle makes you stronger. stronger. Yeah.
Shawn Jones, everybody. Beautiful.
That's amazing.
You're listening to KX 93.5, Laguna's only FM. This, of course, is Radio Caravan. I'm Scott Hayes with my co-host Robert Palmer. Hey, I'm wondering if the blood of your father runs through the fingertips of your guitar playing.
Oh, it does.
I feel it.
It does the bravado, I think, more than anything.
Is that it?
My old man, he was way cooler than I'll ever think of being. We used to play the Swallows all the time together back when he was
Down in
still
San Juan
alive. Yeah.
Capistrano?
Oh, wow.
That was his favorite bar to
Really?
play, and there's a plaque of him up in there. If you walk up and you look at the stage to the left, there's a pole there, and if you go to the other side, on the band side of that pole, there's a picture of my dad. That was his last gig, playing the Swallows. And when we would play those gigs together, everybody wanted to hear him. They didn't want to hear me.
How funny.
Let's hear your dad, you know.
Why him? What were his skills?
He just, he'd play those old, those old country, well, hey, good looking. What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get every gal in the house going crazy with him doing that kind of stuff.
And would he be proud of you today?
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so. I try to always make my father proud, and probably to a fault. I probably moved to Nashville just because I wanted to make it in country music because of him. I mean, although I have that in my soul, I'm a crazy blues rockin' fanatic, but I can't help but have some country roots in my music too. Mm-hmm. So, hence working with Deana and working with Waylon and those people. Getting to introduce my dad to Waylon Jennings, which was one of his big. Nice. He loved Waylon, so they got to hang out and meet each other.
Well, he had a love you for that. He didn't introduce you to Waylon. You introduced him to Waylon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he had to be proud of his son that day.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
We've got less than 4 minutes, I believe. And, I think of success in the music industry, I think it starts with a great song. If you want to leave us with one of your original songs, is there a particular song you would like to leave us with?
Well, we've been talking about my dad a bunch.
We have.
And I've been rocking out for the last, how about I do one that I wrote for my father?
Beautiful.
That'd be fantastic.
Okay, so let's do that. Nothing compares to the way that I feel when I think of all the times that we shared. I followed in your footsteps and tried to make you proud. Took for granted that you'd always be there. And now I miss you more than ever. And I wish we could be together for just a little longer. You can teach me to be stronger than I am, 'cause you were my best friend. You left me your guitar, every time I play it, I can hear the haunting sound of your sweet voice, singing through the night by the campfire light, all the songs you taught me when I was a boy. And now I miss you more than ever, and I wish we could be together just a little longer. You can teach me to be stronger than I am, 'cause you were my best friend. Tell me what it's like on the other side, knowing you won't have to fight is worth every tear I've cried, 'cause you're not gonna suffer anymore. Slipped away and through the open door, and now I know what living here is for. But I miss you more than ever, And I wish we could be together for just a little longer. You could teach me to be stronger than I am, 'cause you were my best friend. You were my best friend. Oh.
Shawn, somebody's looking down from heaven with a big smile on their face right now, and I think it's your dad. That was amazing. Thanks.
That was beautiful, Shawn. Very nice, man. You've been listening to Shawn Jones. By the way, www.ShawnJonesMusic.com, ShaWN, Shawn. And thank you so much, Shawn, for coming in. It was a great show. You really you held up, man. You did great.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much, you guys.
Beautiful. You've been listening to KX 93.5 FM. We are Radio Caravan.